sitting here holding the published copy of my poetry book called Soul Searching Confessions from My Soul. This is the finished 20th anniversary edition of the book that started out as just something I wanted to do back in 2005. I had a whole bunch of poems that I wanted to put out into the world, but basically, I wanted to put them out simply because I had a friend at the time, and his name was Will the Real One Bell, who is a very well known poet who was, gunned down, unfortunately, some years back. And he said to me at the time, nobody can hear your voice if you ain't saying nothing. If you know Will, you'll know that that didn't come out exactly as he says as he said anything, because he was kind of rough around the edges, but just as sweet as he wanted to be. And he said that because one day I let him read one of my poems, and he was like, "This is good, it's real good, but what you gonna do with it?" And I was like, "I'm just writing." He was like, "Nah, man, you should, try to do something with it." I was going to the poetry venues and those types of things, but I would never recite. I am a writer, I am a poet, but I'm not necessarily a reciter. I'm not actually a performer. I can actually read, I recite. I mean, I can, but that's not my form of choice. So what I decided to do was gather all the poems that I had written over the years and pick the ones I like the best and then put them in book format. The only problem was at the time is that I did not know how to become a published author. So I did what I thought was the best thing to do. So I just decided to start printing, and I actually looked at the format of a book, and I was like, oh, I could do this. I can put pages together and create a cover and do the things. And that's what I ended up doing. So I ended up making, for lack of a better term, a book. So I recruited my grandmother, my brother, my best friend, my daughter, some other people, and we assembled, cut, bound, and probably uh, maybe we assembled, cut, and bound 200 books. But out of those 200, we sold 150 of homemade books that we made at the house. And this was back in 2005. Like I said, traditional publishing was pretty much the only way to get your work out there, and even if it was self-publishing, it was very hard to get into that industry. So I just did my thing, being the creative that I am. So we're fast forwarding now to the year 2025, which is 20 years later, and I have procrastinated for quite some time. And I kept telling myself that at some point I was going to take this book, or take the old book, and get it published, because his words still ring in my head. Nobody can hear your voice if you ain't saying nothing. And although I'm very grateful for the 150 people that showed up to buy that little homemade book. With most of the time the little pages was falling out, and if your pages are holding on, you're doing good. Um, but it wasn't really about the the actual pages of the book. It was what was typed on the pages that made the difference. And the feedback from the people that took a chance on me as somebody that, you know, they didn't know to be a writer or an author, and tell me, I had some people say, hey, listen, me and my husband sit down and we read this book. We read a poem at a time. This is amazing. You're something else. I've heard quite a few things, and, not really understanding what that meant at the time. You know, um, I didn't really take it as seriously as I probably should have. But, I think timing is everything. Timing is absolutely everything. So I pulled every ounce of courage out of my body to say, girl, you are going to sit down and you are going to make this happen. So here we are 20 years later, and we have an actual published copy of Soul Searching Confessions from My Soul. This is an absolute new cover. Um, those of you who have the old book, like I'm on it, but I'm 20 years younger, knowing not nearly the amount of things I know right now. And all I'm asking, or all I'm saying right now is, I'm very proud of this work. I'm so very glad to be holding this in my hand. I am once again finding myself within the attitude of gratitude for just being able to make this a thing and bringing it to fruition. There's 45 poems in this book that are just very raw, and they actually brought me through a time in my life where I was still just really or actually discovering myself. Still young, trying to figure out the ins and outs of how life works. What am I doing? Am I doing it right? Making the mistakes, but at the same time, writing at that particular time was very important because I was getting some things out of me that I couldn't necessarily verbalize. So, in this book, 45 poems, I added a extra chapter from the book that we kind of cut bound and did at the house. It's called Love. So I believe there's like 7 poems in that particular chapter of the book that are not in the original book. But I'm just very proud of this work, and I just wanted to share that because it's not easy. If you are somebody that's out there attempting to put yourself in a position of, one day I'm going to do this, don't wait 20 years. 20 years for me is fine because, right now I have time. I'm just going to allow this to go out into the world as it should. And those of you who read it and understand it and get it and it helps, then God bless you. Those of you who buy it, read it, and say, it's not for me, God bless you too. Because I know I'm not for everybody. That's just the reality of anybody, to be honest with you. But, my birthday's coming up. I'm utilizing this opportunity to make this just, the only gift I would like is that you go to cuddlepowerplace.com, click on the gift store, purchase a book. More importantly, not just purchase it, but actually open the pages and see if there's something in there that can resonate with you. Is there something in there that's going to touch your heart and touch your soul? Because when I wrote this, or actually when I compiled this book, that was my intent. My intent was to make this relevant to anybody who picked it up. Maybe not every poem in here is going to resonate with you or anybody, but something in here may touch you at this moment in your life where you may need it. Because like I said, this was me just trying to make it through, just trying to be the best me I knew how to be at the time, and pen and paper was definitely the avenue I was using. Every now and again I would go to the poetry venues and actually recite something. I'm not without verse, I'm not without speaking, but I am, really just wanting to be a blessing, and do my part. So I'm just very glad that I took the opportunity to just pull this out here and make it a thing. I'm very proud right now. Like I can't even express how exciting it is to just be holding this between these covers and know that I actually did a publishing. So I just wanted to put that out there, and I'm looking forward to hearing from anybody, everybody, somebody about what they think when you purchase this book. Once again, it's available now at cuddlepowerplace.com and the gift store or the gift shop. It says gift shop on the website. So give it a shot and let me know what you think. I look forward to hearing from you. Have a great one.